Season 1 is coming to a close, and I think it's a good time to show you what kind of glitches we have found during this season. Reminder, we always have a glitch list being updated, so anything new will be automatically put to the glitch list. So instead of waiting for my videos to come out, you can just check that list and keep up to date what we have discovered. And as a reminder, I will be live streaming on my second channel, so if you guys want to see it happen before it gets onto the glitch list, please feel free to hop in whenever I'm live. Now let's get into the video and keep up with tradition by showing off speed glitches. So we're all familiar with the foot plant pressure speed glitch. Now let me introduce you to his brother, the Fanny. Yes, that's the name. What needs to happen is that you hook your back truck against the corner of a ledge, and it will send you flying. A good setup is placing 2 small mani pads and spacing them with either a pallet or this yellow chair. Then you can roll up, slappy the first one, hold down on the right stick to initiate a 5-0, and if you have the right speed, you should connect with the second mani pad and it should launch you. You might need to make the gap a little bit smaller or bigger depending on height and how fast you're attacking the mani pad. This glitch is not universally consistent, so you might need to find your own spacing in order to get this to work. And honestly, that was probably the best glitch we've found. This next one isn't so much the best way to get speed, but it is a method. There are 2 methods. First one, spin front side, 90 degrees, hold crail, right before you land, shifty that crail, backside, and spin the other direction. The other method is to pre-wind a front side 360 and then backside shifty the crail right before you land. Now, if you don't spin the other direction while shifting your crail grab, this can lead to a pretty decent bounce. Now this next one is more of a launch speed glitch hybrid. Honestly, you can just call it whatever you like. And from the looks of it, it gets you pretty significant speed. This glitch can only work off high ledges. To do this maneuver, you need to be in fakie, hippie jump, backflip, get on board, then hold a crossbone or a tweak grab. And again, the game doesn't know what to do, so it spazzes out and spits you out at a high velocity. Now this glitch is pretty random because it will spit you out different directions each time you do it. And I said before, it only works on high ledges. I've never gotten this actually to work on flat, so if you can do that on flat, please tell me how. Now onto map specific glitches. This ledge at the canal in Market Mile, its collision is standing too tall above the actual ledge and it looks like you're skating above it. Coming to the stadium, right by the mega ramp, this whole wall has no collision. This building at Hardcore Plaza seems pretty normal. That is, until you decide to walk directly into one of the edges. Doing so, you can just clip right through the building. And that's not all. You could even shove an entire object right into the building. Coming to this spot at Market Mile, you'll notice 3 pillars that have no collision whatsoever. Now this pillar in particular is different, because if you go to the level above, you'd notice that the collision is offsetted right above it, which interferes with the flow of traffic if you're trying to skate. By teleporting to the Reels Theater fast travel location, you can come across this structure where everything seems to be normal, that is, until you get on your board. Okay, quick course on climbing mechanics. You can hold your jump button, which will automatically let you climb up the wall depending on where you have your left stick positioned. So with that in mind, if you begin to climb and you feel like you've reached the top, try wiggling your stick around and maybe your character will grab onto something that it shouldn't and you can pull yourself up into places where you clearly shouldn't be. And finally, by using a launch glitch that I've shown in my previous videos, you can actually launch yourself to one of the cargo ships. And yes, it's skateable. Last season, the cargo ships had no collision, so you couldn't skate it. Sailboats also have collision this time. Now that's it for map glitches, besides ungrindables, which will clearly get patched next season. But now we're on to party tricks. Things that are only cool to show off to your friends. And for this one is what we call the push buffer. First, you need to get into fakie, and at the same time, push and hold a manual. So now your character looks like it cancels the push, and so the moment that you do drop your manual, it will push again. The next party trick is to do an emote that emits some light and have yourself get pushed by a car. Doing so, you'll get disconnected from the light source, and the light source should stay where you began your emote. This doesn't work with every emote, but it does work with most, so experiment and see what emotes actually do work. Now this next one is pretty annoying. If you try to start a challenge but don't fully hold down the button to complete the challenge request, the sound effect of starting up the challenge will constantly loop. Another audio bug is to hold out an emote that has a sound effect, and if you begin to spam your slide button, it will constantly replaying that sound effect. In Season 0, there was a thing we called Hall Meet Permanents, where your target locator would stay with you outside the challenge. Well, in this season, it only stays with you in challenge. After you bounce from a bale, you want to recover by spread eagling and spamming some triggers, and hopefully getting out of the bale state by getting on your board. So do you remember the object zip I showcased last glitch video? Well, there's another easy way of doing it, and this time it uses pedestrians. This time you want to get up in front of a pedestrian, jump and spread eagle slide away from the pedestrian, and once you get up, you zip right back to where you started. Note that if the pedestrian walks too far away from whence you began the glitch, you will not zip back. Okay, so this is probably my first character glitch I will showcase, but if you wear anything that covers your face, and then begin to view an object outside of the appearance menu, your skater will actually have a white face for a brief moment. If you didn't know, Object Dropper has a toggle camera, one where you can walk around in third person and move an object at your will. You need to be in this toggle camera to do this next party trick. It's really simple. All you have to do is open up the Object Dropper and the map at the exact same time, and you notice that your icon is spinning around. What's actually happening is that you're moving while in this state. Even though your arrow position doesn't change, you actually do move in real time. Another glitch I mentioned in my last glitch video was invisible props. I'm here to tell you that's patched. Unfortunate, I know. But now if you decide to do the same method, it becomes intangible. By getting two people to grab the same object at the same time, the object collision will disappear for both people. Anyone else that wasn't messing with that object can stand on it just fine. Here's a method to delete other people's objects. If you get yourself into a situation to where it forces you to respawn, you can then open up the Object Dropper and hold on to someone else's object, and so when you respawn, it deletes that object with it. Note that if other people have the editing set to only them, it will not work. Now onto a couple prop glitches. If you happen to get yourself a pole gem, you can then grind the shorter downside of the rail and be in a stall. Once in the stall, you could flick a tray flip or a laser to get a pretty good pop. This next one requires you to set a marker right at a wall, and then place a porta potty right on your marker, so when you go back to your marker, you can easily clip through the wall. Using the closed dumpster prop also gets the job done. Another thing you could do by setting a marker at a wall is to place two large quarter pipes on top of each other. Once placed, you go back to your marker, wall jump and wall jump out, and you'll be frozen in place. By deleting both props, you would still be in a frozen state. Next is an infinite wall run, or wall jump, whatever you would like to call it. Basically, this is the only building we've managed to ever get to working, and you simply hold the left stick at 11 o'clock direction while spamming your jump button. So you guys remember the Chrysler to blunt? Well, if you add a backflip and do a no-foot air, it does the exact same thing. This only works on a down rail or a down ledge. You may need to delay your backflip depending on the distance you are from the ledge. And for those of you who are asking, can you do this in a Super Dude? Yes, you can, but it's a hell of a lot harder. Another callback, remember the jolt that you get when pushing up on the right stick going up the quarter pipe to do a turkey? Well, let me introduce you to its cousin, the twist. While in air, while spinning any direction and holding any grab, you can then tap down on the left stick. Doesn't even matter if you're ascending or descending, your body will twist. The great part about this is it doesn't have to be on a quarter pipe. You could do it at any height that allows you to start flipping. It took us 18 years, but we finally figured out how to double jump on our skateboard. By rolling up to any small ledge, you flick a trick, and right as when you get over the ledge, you flick another trick. Personally, I like to nollie into an ollie. You could choose whatever trick you like. You can also attack a ledge head on and it will still work. Another bounce pop you can get is the tail slide, and when you pop a trick, it hits the bottom of the rail, which will send you upwards. This next bounce requires you to be in height 3 and to have quick ollies enabled. After doing those two things, you quick ollie once, quick ollie again, and after the second time, you hold out a no-foot air. As you can see, it gets you a pretty good bounce. This can also be done over water. This next bounce doesn't require you to be any specific height. You just need a no comply over a ledge, and right when you get over the ledge, flick a late flip. You preferably want to spin backside after you do a no comply. Most of the time, this glitch will send you forward. Other times, it can send you backwards. To get even more height, we are abusing this caveman hop animation. By sliding up a quarter pipe, then getting on your board at the right time, it will give you a pretty good vertical bounce. Depending on the angle you slid up the quarter pipe, you will go different directions. This can also be done with a belly slide and any ledges. Placing down a big mani pad will also do the trick. And for those who are wondering, rails do also work. Here's one you can do that's right by the canal. Last glitch video I showcased you could survive a landing from any height. That's just not on your board. This time you can. By timing your caveman at the right time, you can land from a higher height from which you shouldn't be able to land from. That being said, I do believe there's a limit to how fast you could fall in getting this caveman to work. I've gone over this hand plane glitch before, but there's a side effect I didn't talk about. If you exit out of it and hold B or circle, you'll get into the slide. While in the slide, you can hold left or right and you can move either direction while in this pose. We're pretty limited on movement, so have fun. Now, I know this glitch was discovered in Season 0 because a lot of people accidentally did it, but we finally cracked the code on how to do it. When doing a tuck knee foot plant bounce, immediately after you bounce, something has to interrupt it. And in this case, we used a bench. When you're in this state, you can't move. However, if you quickly adjust your height, you end up moving forward. Your character would always want to be a certain distance above the ground, so placing an object, your skater's position will change and thus move you forward. The only downside to this is that it only wants to go forward. You cannot change your direction. The moment that you hit a wall, you're kind of stuck there forever. This next thing is pretty easy to do. Slide into a low ledge. Doing so, your skater will grab onto the ledge, and then you can actually press B or circle to drop down and enter the level below. This works on various ledges throughout the map, and honestly a pretty easy way to clip through any floor. Now let's say there are no ledges. Well, you could just place your own rail. Slide into it, automatically grab onto it, and then let go because you can. Or forget the ledges and use this simple roll technique. When you roll, you want to line your butt up with the floor, then you get on your board and immediately bail. Doing so, you should clip right through the ground. It is known that the drop and bail launch is patched. Even the method by getting onto the ledge and immediately bailing is patched. However, there's still a side effect in this season. By doing the exact same methods of dropping in and immediately bailing, you'd notice that your camera would go out of whack. It will lock onto the back of your character as you're running around. Rolling around and jumping will also make the camera go a little bit weird. Opening up the throwdown menu and exiting out will just push the camera back even farther. But like most camera glitches, getting on your board will allow you to move the camera as you flick your board. Also, that throwdown nausea cam no longer happens. Another camera glitch is by setting your offboard camera follow movement to 0 on horizontal and 0 on vertical. Having the settings like this, no matter where you turn, your camera will not follow the back of your skater. The only way to change the camera is with your right stick positioning. By positioning your camera all the way up or all the way to the bottom, getting back onto your board, the camera position won't go back to normal. The only way to fix that is by getting off your board and getting back on. Now this is where we start getting into the weird glitch category. Starting off with self-dissociation. Dissociations is something that I mentioned briefly before, but remember when I clipped into the building earlier in this video? That is considered as dissociation because your camera moves before your actual character. With this glitch, you don't need any wall. Basically, you get into a sliding position, roll, and immediately do a spread eagle. When you spread eagle, your character will bail. Then you can move your left stick, left or right, and you'd notice that your camera would move, and eventually your character will too. Another thing you can do with this trick, during the dissociation, you can bail, which will bail launch you. I find it pretty easy just by spamming bail buttons over and over again. Now, I did say the drop and bail launch was patched, and that is true. But if you happen to walk right off an edge where you're constantly falling, you could save a marker in that position, and then when you get on your board, you immediately bail, and sometimes it will launch you. This glitch is very inconsistent and would not recommend. This backflip caveman launch is also something I find really inconsistent. Trying to stay upside down after doing a caveman backflip is really hard to do. To do this trick, you can start off your board or on your board, and then you hippie jump or jump and try to backflip and get on your board when you're upside down. And you want to land on your head, do a foot plant, and get off your board, which ejects you out into the sky. Let's go from complex to really easy. When swinging, you can hit RB or R1, which turns your character around. And after you're turned around, you can just spam B or circle, which will launch you out of the map. Another swinging glitch allows you to swing, slide down a wall, and then you want to make contact with another wall. You notice your character freaked out in that moment. If you happen to bail during that freakout, it will launch you to the sky. Now for a glitch that has been revived from the playtest days, we call the double bail launch. What you do is exactly what the title says, bail twice while on your board. To make things easier, you want to hold down your left bumper and your left stick the entire time. Then you want to click your right trigger, your right bumper, the right stick, and B at the exact same time, and then do it again. If you do it too fast, it won't work. If you do it too slow, it won't work. You have to do it in a fast pattern. This glitch is pretty hard to do. I even struggle with it most times. But for people who have paddles on the back of their controller, it might be easier because you could just set that to B. Now for the first glitch that was discovered this season, what you want to do is place your board on a ledge so it's hanging by the trucks. Then, at a certain angle, run at the board and jump. Really simple method to get into the sky. Now what if I told you it doesn't have to hang by the trucks, it just has to hang over the ledge? Doing so will still send you into the sky. Now, what if I even told you you don't even have to have it hanging over the ledge, it just has to be near the ledge. Doing that as well sends you into the sky. Now, what if I told you you don't even need to sprint, you could simply just jump towards the board and it will still launch you to the sky. Brief lesson on objects and how they react. In the previous season, objects couldn't float in the sky, they had to be attached to the ground or to the wall. This season, it doesn't matter. It can just float there. Why am I telling you this? Well, if you launch yourself into the sky with previous launch method mentioned, you can place an object on your friend and start building skate parks in space. So we all know about the turkey bounce, right? Of course we do. What if I told you you can actually buffer the turkey? When approaching the quarter pipe, you want to power slide at the tip of the lip to get into a stall, but you also want to hold up on the right stick to do the nose stall. When in that nose stall, you have successfully buffered the turkey. Now all you have to do is flick out a trick and then hit up on the left stick and get off your board. Coincidentally, it's really easy to tap up on the left stick at the peak of your jump and fly out of the map. It is possible to stall other tricks, I just haven't been able to do it and only was successful with a nose stall. And that should be it for turkey bounces, right? Well, what if I told you there's a more powerful version of the turkey bounce, using the hippie jump? Too bad I'm not going over it, the timing is really hard and not useful. So instead, I'm going to be using a no-foot air. Introducing the turkey launch. What you need to do is when you're going up a vert wall, you need to hold up going up the quarter pipe, which sends you forward. And then you want to hold out a no-foot air, Christ air, super dude, your choice. Hit up on the left stick, then get off your board. And depending on the angle of rotation, you either go up or forward. If you're not getting launched as far, you might want to delay getting off your board after hitting up on your left stick. Not only is this glitch useful for distance, it's really good at getting height. And then I go over it. Oh shit. Oh my god. Holy shit. 281? Now that you have all this incredible height, allow me to introduce you to a new mechanic. When you're about to land in a quarter pipe, push down on the right stick right before you get into it. Doing so will kill most of your falling speed. If you've seen my last video, not glitch video, you would know about this. If you slappy and immediately get off your board, you have stored that slappy. So, by getting back on your board and power sliding, you'd notice your character gets into this awkward state where it keeps wanting to twitch around. That is the act of trying to slappy, and it's really attracted to anything that's grindable. So by placing a pole jam on top of a hill, weird things can happen. Oh.
What?
Yeah. Let's go. Yes. Yes. Yo. Yeah.
Holy.
Yo.
Oh.
This next glitch is what we call a wall tether. Doing this glitch will make you stay at one point on the wall. You can run, you can get on your board, but you will not leave the wall. You need to find a wall that you can grab onto. So you jump once, jump again. And the second time you jump, you bail at the same time. Getting launched up into the air is a sign that you have made the glitch successful. Now that you're in the glitch, getting on your board does not really work that well. But don't fret, remember, it's a tether, so it will just warp you right back. The only way you can leave the wall is by rolling off. Now, it does not matter how far you go. The moment you exit out of the cannonball roll, you will get warped right back to where you were. While in this state, you can jump, torpedo, get on your board, and then start spamming late flips and see how ridiculous your character looks in the replay editor. If you happen to jump and bail and then start flinging in the air, you have the opportunity to spread eagle or torpedo and you can see yourself get launched through the air. Note that anytime you respawn either through the ocean or going back to marker, you are out of the glitch and you have to redo it all over again. Okay, now this last glitch requires you to complete a challenge while in a party and hold up on your marker button to set a marker. Now that you have set your marker, you could simply just go back to it. And now you are back in the celebration screen. If we take one look at 00, we could see all these boxes. Here is the celebration screen, here is the pause menu, below is the Skatepedia, shop, and skate pass. By traversing out of the celebration room using objects by pushing yourself through the water, you can get to the pause menu and start placing objects near to where the pause menu actually is. When I was doing this, luckily I had an Xbox player that was able to float downwards because Xbox users somehow move differently underwater, and we spawned on them.
Yo, I can see everyone at the skater.
What? There's
I can see him floating. Yo.
Because we're in the pause screen, anyone that opens up the pause menu can clearly see us in the pause menu and will most likely teleport to you to see what all the fun's about. Wait, we go to the face screen.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Hello.
Yo, hello. Wait, right? Yeah, right here's the. That's what-
You're staring me down, bro. And that's all I have to show you for glitches. I know that there's an infinite throwdown glitch, but I'm not going to tell you that because you can use that to crash servers. So instead, I want to show you me successfully lining up throwdowns that circle around the whole island. Because I like making long form videos, I'm probably not going to make another glitch video until we get closer to the end of Season 2, which most likely means the next series of glitches will get patched coming Season 3. But that just means you guys need to have an eye on the glitch list because we are constantly updating. So until next time, thanks for watching.